OK，现在人还比较少，我们稍微等一会儿，然后等到个10分，或者说更之后，等大概来了起码3、4个人之后，我们再开始。OK，我们再稍微等一会儿。OK，人确实不多，没关系，要不我们反正就先开始，好吧？然后，OK，那我们开始。Okay, so yesterday we talked about quick sort, right? And quick sort is just have the idea of you can choose either the first one or the last one or a random one as your pivot. In our algorithm, we just decide to implement um, to choose the last one, right? And then I is equal to low minus one, and then pivot is equal to the last element, and then for j in range, oh yeah, that's the partition method, where for j is in range low to high, and then it is just basically comparing this jth element and the pivot, right? And if j's element is less than the pivot, then you increment I and then you swap I and j, right? So basically saying that it is basically doing make the smaller side of the array on the left and the bigger the larger side, the side that is larger than the pivot on the right, right? And then after done all those, then end the loop, and then swap the pivot with the first element on the right side of the array, which is this index, which is I plus 1, right? And then this is just this quick sort function, which you just call partition on array low and high. And then after you call this partition, then you do like do a recursion, right? And then you're just calling on the left half and the right half. Okay, so that is the idea of a quicksort. And then here the following I think the following code, the driver code with all the printings explain this pretty well, right? So the first you have 45, right? And then you start from the first one comparing, and then it is less than 45, so it is swapping by itself, right? So which means that you just ignore whatever is there. And then you're comparing 29 and 45, and then since the i's element and j's elements are the same, so and Waterloo is raining so heavily. Okay, yeah. So the second element, you just swap by itself, so it doesn't do anything. 46 to 45, it is larger, so it doesn't even get into the if case. But now I and j are different, right? And right now, if you compare 31 to 45, then you will be swapped with 46, right? Swapping 46 and 31, then it is swapped like this, right? It's from this to this, right? And then you're just comparing 53, and then don't do anything. 82, don't do anything. 15, we need to move it to the position of 46, right? That is the last index, or the first index of the right half, right? And then 64, don't do anything. 23, swap again, swap with 53. And then 63 is 63 and 45, don't do anything. This, don't do anything. 99, don't do anything. And then we end the loop, right? And then place the pivot. And then where do we place the pivot? So this is where we place 82, right? So just to move this first element of the right half, right? And then exchange it with this pivot. Okay. So that is quick sort, and then you just keep just continuing and change another pivot and call on the subarray, right? And then do the sort. And then if you have time yourself, then you can go on yourself and then actually check it out yourself. Okay, so that is that is a brief review about quicksort. If you guys have any questions, then just let me know, or just let me know. Okay, I will wait until 10:20 to wait for any person that is not yet here. And if you guys are all here, then just do a review of quicksort, and then remind yourself how do you usually do it, like the general steps, the details of the algorithm, especially the partition when dealing with like those indexes. And then I'm gonna move on forward to the coding project that we left over yesterday. Okay. All right. All right. I guess I'm gonna just continue with this Python code. Um, Let me turn off the things that I'm not gonna use. Okay. So yeah, yesterday we talked about student dot text, the teacher dot text, and then right now we are gonna deal with this reading from the file, right? And then yeah, so just a way to extract the information outside from the file itself. Okay, so what do you need to do? I mean, we I talked about this file thing in in the public lecture, so like it is basically the first lecture. But yeah, don't worry about it if you forget. um I will just talk through it, right? So in here, I'm just gonna explain you this code. There's a try catch thing, and then this try catch is for exceptions, right? And what does this do? It basically says um, you try this code, right? And then if there is an arrow, then raise an arrow, right? So accept exception as E, and then we just do raise E, right? So it's just basically saying that if there could be a problem within this code, and then just do the try catch. But yeah, it is just a way for you to catch the arrow instead of like making the compiler just to do it for you. But yeah, it doesn't do anything magic, as it's sort of just a normal piece of code. And then if there is arrow, then just raise an arrow. Okay, so you know, you can have this try, and then catch. Oh, the catch though, yeah, except, yeah, it is called try catch module, but like, it is actually called except in the grammar, right? So except exception as E, then you do raise E. Okay, and then the reason that why we're here is we have this. So what do you need to do? So basically, we first open a file, right? So when you open a file, we do with open, right? With open plus this pass, and then mode is equal to R as something something, right? So we do with open, and then we can pass in student self student pass, right? Mode is equal to R. A character R means read, right? As FD student, right? And current line, current student, I would say, is equal to FD student dot read line, right? Okay, so that is that. FD student dot read line, right? But what does this have right now? So I'll just go ahead and print. And yeah, one thing to do as you move on is you know you need to test your code as you move on, right? Name is equal to main, right? Fo is equal to file operator. We're constructing a new class, and then you know, you just do that, and it should give you what you want, right? So here is the command line. If you don't know how to use it before, you can try to learn it, right? But here's the thing. So there are a whole bunch of commands in this command line thing, but you only need to know some of them. CD goes into a file directory. ls in Mac or Linux shows all the files within that directory. For Windows, you need to use dir. Okay, so that means dir means directory. And then for us, we only need to know that if you want to call a Python file, you just do Python 3, right? And then space some file, right? And I add this Python 3 because when your computer have Python 2 and Python 3 at the both at the same time, sometimes it cannot tell, like whether it's Python 2 or Python 3 that you're calling. So if your computer have only one Python, then I think it should be good with by like only typing Python something something. And for example, Python. Yeah, let me actually get into. So I use ls command to check what do I have. So I have this GUI folder, this service folder, and this data folder. and then what we're in right now, we're in services, right? So we just do cd ser, and then once you hit tab, then you can be autofilled, right? So yeah, ls, and then you can do Python 3 file operator, right? And then oh yeah, for sure, built-in method IO wrapping. What is this here? So oh yeah, I forgot to include the brackets. Sorry about that. And then yeah, so it is. So if you do read line here, right, and then you just print current student, then you can see something like this. Okay, so that is actually what we want, right? That is the first line of student student text. Okay, so that is good. So that we know we are having what we need right now. And since that, I don't know if you noticed, but it will be separated by a line break, right? And then, you know, in the list, we probably don't want this line break. So what you need to do is you just do this -1, right? Until -1. Oops. Until -1, right? So a little bit of manipulating with the string index, so that it does not include the last character, right? And then as long as you can see here, for the last line, you also have a line break, then it is good. Okay. And then if you don't have a line break on the last line, then it will delete the last character, which is not something that we want. So yeah, make sure to add a line break after the student and the teacher.txt. Okay, so after this, you can see while current student, right? So while current student just means that the current student have values in it. Current line. Yeah, I'll always add the bracket. I'm too used to this C style or Java style code language. Yeah, and then if you can, I would just keep it as the same number, the same naming convention, just to make it consistent. Okay, so yeah, the current line. Okay, I can actually move it here. Okay. Let's just make the development easier, and then I can hide this file directory. Okay, so while current line, right? You can see the student list. So you're having a list called a student. Oh, I have a typo here. Okay. And then once you have that, you have a current line, right? So you have a student list is equal to current line, and then you do a little bit of split, right? So it is a list, something like this. And then if you want to break them into like separate indices, then you can do current line of split, right? And then what you need to do is you do self list student all dot append student list, right? What does it do? It actually append in this entire list to this to this larger list, which is this list all, list student all, right? And then you just do current line is equal to file student, and then dot read line. And then once again, you do this, right? So it is basically saying that while, so you read first, and then you read first, and then if you can read something, then just once you read them, you just push that into the list student all, and then you're just sort of update this current line every time to call a read line function again and again, so that the new line will just be, the new line will just be read. Okay, so that is for student, right? So read student. Okay, so a little bit of copy and pasting. Read students is exactly the same, well, not exactly the same, but more or less the same as read teacher, right? So as long as you try to change that to teacher pass, you can do FD teacher, right? And then change this, right? And then it is list teacher all. Then teacher list, and change this. Okay, so what you can try is you try this, print fo dot list teacher though, and then you can do here list student all. Okay, so you save, and then you run. As you can see here, so this is the student list all the way here. This is the teacher list, a two-dimensional list, right? So that is the file operator. Okay, and then that is the file that we actually wants to read, right? And then that is how we read from that file, and then read in data. Okay, so after we have already read the data, then what do we need to do? And one comment that I'm gonna make is that we should sort of starting to develop this GUI, which is graphical user interface. And what does GUI do? So this GUI mainly just to give you this sort of the interface, right? That is what graphic user interface do. Okay. And then right now we don't have anything for GUI, so we're making a new file called main GUI.py. Okay, so let me turn off this, and this. So, okay, what do we have right now? So this is the main GUI. Okay, so you can ignore all this for now. I am gonna introduce you this package that we're gonna use. This is called tkinter. From tkinter import star, and then import star means just import like everything that that is in that package. right? And then yeah, you can, what you can do is also you can specify what you use, right? You can from tkinter basically, for example, import um, let me see what they are. Yeah, you can import style, maybe. Oh yeah, yeah. Probably it's not in tkinter. Label, yeah. You can import label. Label is from tkinter, right? You can import those ones separately by yourself, but import star, which just means import everything, is a little bit easier. Okay, now what we'll have next is from tkinter dot ttk, which is another just a package. Okay, import everything. Okay, so that is the basically import that we actually need. For those imports, we don't need it right now. We will add them as we move on. Okay, so you can have a new class called main GUI that extends from TK, which is the class from tkinter. Okay, and then you have this init function, which is sort of just yeah, this IDE gives me this shortcut, but yeah, it is sort of just do init with itself and then just call this super.init, right? And then you can say self.title. This is just whatever we make up, right? Self.title is equal to student and teacher info management system. Okay, so here's our title, just to make everything to be clear and nice, and then what else do we need? Self.geometry. Geometry. What does geometry mean? Geometry means just this is the size of the window. So it's, for example, in this case, I am having 1200 and x. This is not multiplication. Like when I was doing the code, I tend to do this, but this is x. Okay, so yeah. And the 1200 is the width, and then 600 is the height, and then plus 80 and then plus 80 just means that where in the window it shows. Okay, so to demonstrate, I can just having a main method here, right? So if name is equal to main, right? I can have main is equal to main GUI, and then you can do main dot main loop. So yeah, main loop is just this method for this method for actually running this whole loop, right? Okay, so that is what a main loop do, and then yeah. So what do we do? What about we just go ahead and see if that gives you a window. All right. So I get into here, cd dot dot. Cd dot dot just means goes up a directory. and then we just cd back into GUI ls. You can see here there's only one file here. So name tk is not defined. What is happening right here? So name tk is not defined. If there is any kind of quick fix, import tk inner. Did I have a typo somewhere? No, seems to be all good. Oh, it's the lowercase k. Yeah, it's just a name thing. Okay, so yeah, right now we have a blank window, right? Sorry about this moving, but yeah. So this is 102, 1,200, and then by 600, and then let me run this again. Okay, so it starts at like some sort of 80. You can change this maybe to like 60. Yeah, so that the 60 just means where it is started. Right, so I run it again. So as you can see, it is closer to the top left of my screen because for this indexing, the top left of my screen is 0. And then as you move to the right, you increase the X value. You move down, you increase the Y value, right? So this is somewhere like 1,000 something or like 500 something, right? So yeah, that is the thing. Okay, so right now, what we basically have is yeah. So we have this blank window, right? And then now we need to further go up and develop something more. Okay, what do we need to do next? And then you do self.resizable is you just pass in 0 and 0. What you can see is, it's not resizable again, right? It's not resizable anymore. Before it can be resizable, but no, not for right now. Okay, so that is what this code does. And then, yeah, in terms of style, we'll do it later. But I'm gonna do self dot label student. So that is just we're making up the name. Then self text is equal to student info list. Okay, what this means is this label text, this label student just is a variable, right? And then it is basically saying that we're constructing a class called label. And then if you're interested, I mean, you can actually search it up on label tk enter. Yeah, and then you can go to this tutorial point or Geek for Geeks. Yeah, I mean those ones are just those good websites that that you can use or refer to, right? And then it shows you the sample code or whatever. But yeah, what it does is that it actually creates a text label, and then it's like a 文本框, right? So it is just like a text box with some stuff in it, and then self dot label student, right, dot place. So what it actually does is once you have this label constructed, then you call dot place, and then you can actually put it in somewhere in the window, right? And then right now we're specifying with t max equal to 40 and then y equals to 60. Okay, and then what do I have right now? If I run this code, you can see here, you can see this is having a label for a student info list. Okay, and then we're just going to repeat ourselves, then do the teacher label as well. So this is a little bit of copy and pasting, and then adding the code, right? So I'm just going to type here teacher, right? And then this just change to teacher info list, and just copy and paste here. And then in terms of index, it works the same as the window itself, except that right now we're just doing it relatively um, to the to the to this window as to this window in terms of instead of our entire screen, right? So this axis 600, and then our screen is 1200, so it is basically somewhere middle in the screen, right? So yeah, that is where we put it. Okay, so after we do this, what we can do is we can set up a style, right? So self style, you can do 0, 1, or any style that you want, is equal to style, right? And then you're just making a style object, and then right now you just need to change that, and it actually provides a function called configure dot configure, and then you just do this. So what is this? T label. So this label here is in default called T label. And then this is style just applies to all the kinds of label, right? So font, you can do Roboto. Doesn't actually matter which one that you do, as long as you like it. And then let me actually go online and search up a list for you. So TK enter style font list. Right. So as you can see, there's a whole bunch of them, right? And then you can copy whatever you want, and then you can search up this specific font and see if that is the font that you want, right? Then yeah, so that is the thing. So like keep searching online and finding what you want. Okay. So as for now, we will just keep it as Roboto. Okay. And then you have a foreground parameter that is gray. Okay. Navy, sorry about that. Navy. Okay. So that is a little bit of like that is just adding a bit of color. And then after you save this, what is wrong? Oh, what the hell? Okay. So run it here. Foreground just means that makes the text text color, right? So foreground is navy, just makes the text color, sort of navy, right? Instead of black. Okay, so what we have right now is something like this. Okay, so we are, you know, sort of making progress on this main GUI, and yeah, so right here, we need to well, not for now, but we will come back for this later. This is just to create a file operator, and then to actually get whatever you need. Okay, so self.student current. Okay, we don't have to deal with it right now because it would not make sense to deal with this right now. But you can do self.student GUI, and then self.teacher GUI. And then what this is it actually does this kind of stuff for you. So in the initialization method, we're calling those two methods, and so that we can separate our code a bit, and not make it a big chunk of code where no one can actually read. Okay, so okay, so this is a little bit of design for the student GUI. So you can do self.tree student is equal to tree view. Tree view just is another object that we have right now. But don't worry if it is introducing a lot of new stuff. This is, I mean, as long as you know how to use it, then you can dig up a little bit of a little. You can dig up the source file, and then the explanations online, and then you will quickly learn how to use those. But as of for now, you can just follow whatever I am doing, and then try to understand what I'm doing. Okay, and then those tree view is self. Just pass in whatever self is, right? So it is basically this main GUI, right? And then you need a bunch of columns, right? So right now, what we need to show is, for example, here, student number, student name, and then gender. So it is basically a string tuple where you just fill in all of the all of the uh, all of the columns that you need, right? So phone number, and then email. Okay, so what and then show equal to headings. So that's just another parameter that you need to pass in, and then height is equal to 20. Okay, what do we have right now? We shall go ahead, run this code, and see what happens. And then I'm just gonna make a definition for the teacher class. Self pass. Okay. So try. Does not actually have anything on it yet. And that is because I have not yet placed it. So after I do this place, then oops, that I can do is that is quite long, but that is something we can deal with it later. Okay, so yeah, and then what we need to do is a little bit of alignment. Okay, so between this, what do we need to do? Self.tree student. So after we have this tree view, then we are setting up each column, and then this column first takes this student name, student number, right? So that just those are just the strings that you pass in that tuple, right? And then width is equal to 90. Those numbers like the width or whatever is something that you can adjust in your code. You don't have to be exactly the same as mine, because everyone have a different screen size, right? So sometimes it would make sense to make it large or make it small, a little bit something like that, right? So you can adjust those kind of stuff yourself. You don't have to be exactly the same as mine, but I will just keep whatever I have. Right. So after you have this column, right, you just have to keep copying and pasting. Right. So what we have is six columns. Okay, we have is 6 columns. What we can do is student name. And for student name, I would just make it into a little bit longer, so that it doesn't actually go over. But yeah, in terms of limiting, in terms of the I think the size of our data, I think it still goes over goes overflow, but like it can improve it by yourself, or it is just because I have a smaller screen. But yeah, major is pretty long, so I changed that to 100, right? And then phone number can be long, but it's the fixed. It is a fixed size, right? So I make that into 80. I have one more line, so I just delete that. So this is email, and then the width is 100, and then anchor center. And then what you need to do is you do a little bit of heading, right? You're setting up the heading for this column. For the student number column, the heading is text student number. For student name column, it just heading is that. So yeah, in terms of this project, there will be a lot of repeating stuff, but like that is what usually what we need to do when we're actually developing a project, because setting up those GUI is not hard, to be honest. It is just a little bit of designing and repeated code, and a lot of APIs that you're gonna use, like just call those built-in functions written by someone else, then you can just create your own thing, right? And then once again, a lot of copy and pasting. Okay, and then yeah, just change it to the name. Yeah, copy and pasting. Student name here. Then gender, major, is major, and then phone number. Email. Okay, so let's check again. What is going on here? Okay, so right now we have like a column. We have a tree view, which is a table, and then we have already specified a column so that it does not like go wherever they want, right? So like we're specifying those column width, right? In terms of like how wide should it be, right? So those numbers are, I think I'll just pick those. Okay, and what else do we need to do? So after we place this, we're having a new object called buttons, right? And then those functional buttons are, for example, in here, we need to have like add, update, and delete, right? So that's what we need to do next. So you will need to do self.button add student is equal to button, just then as a constructor, self, and then text is equal to add student. Right, and then width is equal to 10. Okay, and then command. What does command do is that means that once you click the button, what will what will it do, right? So you know, right now we are defining a function called add student, right? And then I think it's somewhere down there. Yeah, so we have check student, update student, add student, delete student, right? So those different kind of functions. As for now, we are just gonna do something like this. So we're just gonna pass. Okay, so it just means that if you have those commands, then I mean, don't do anything for now. Okay, we're just setting up the GUI. We will worry about that later. Okay, so you can not pass in that command as well, and then you can actually pass it in it and actually define this function, and then deal with it later. So you'll have delete student with self, and then just do pass. Right, and then if I mean, if anyone don't know this pass thing, this pass is just a placeholder. It just means like there is something in it, but there's nothing in it. So like don't do anything. All right. So that is the case. So yeah, back to the button. So what you need to do is you do self dot button add student dot place x is equal to 700. Y is equal to 550. Oh, okay. That's teacher. My bad. This is 100. Okay. So that is y x is equal to 100 and y is equal to 550. Okay. And then yeah, if you're wondering how do I get those numbers, I just keep trying it out and see where it actually fits. Okay, so there's nothing actually too smart in here. Just keep trying and manipulating. Okay. And then, you know, this just changes to update student. And then, yeah, actually, just remember that there is no bracket after these. Okay. And then this is delete student. Right, there's no bracket after this, so it is just basically passing a variable, a function as a variable, right? So yeah, it just refers back to the idea of like a lots of stuff, right? Functions, string, you know, list, object oriented, you know, lots of things are mixing together so that if you study everything well before, then you can, you know, sort of apply it very easily. Okay, so yeah, just changing the index here, 250, 400. So yeah, right now those numbers are just what I tested, and it seems to be work pretty well on my screen. Not sure about yours, but you can figure something out yourself. Just manipulating and keep running your code. Yeah, so look at this. So you can have a add a student. Right now, if you click it, it doesn't do anything. Update student, delete student. Okay, so oops, um, right here. Okay, and then you know you can make your button a little bit wider. It doesn't matter to me because I see this update student is actually um, cut off. So I don't mind to make it a little bit larger. Yeah, so as you can see, after I make this larger, then those three buttons are actually here, and then so that's it is successfully added. Okay, so in terms of this, let me see if there is style for button. Okay, in this case, there is no style for button, so we don't need to worry about it for now. Okay, so that is student GUI. Okay, so that is student GUI, and then that is it for student GUI, and then for teacher GUI, it is basically the same, right? So what you will need to do is you copy this entire student GUI, then paste it right here, and then you just change whatever you need, right? So basically, for teacher, you have, what is that? You have teacher ID. Yeah, I was just trying to repeat myself. Teacher ID, and then I just simplified it here. Name, and then gender is the same. Type instead of major, we have title, which is like TA or professor or anything like that. And then this is for phone number, sure. College. So we don't have this email here. We have this college. This college. And then we need to change that respectively. Teacher ID, and change the teacher ID here as well. Change to teacher ID here. Name, change it here. Change it here. Change it here. And gender is the same. Title. gender is the same, title, title, title. The phone number is the same. And then college. College. Okay. And then I can just cut this and then basically copy it here so that just to keep the order. Okay. And title and change this college. That doesn't actually matter, but yeah, in terms of here, I think it matters because it is defining the order of the column, but you know, doesn't, maybe it doesn't matter as well. Yeah, but like keep it like this. Keep your code consistent will be a fairly good idea. Okay, so you're placing it at 600, 695. Okay, so that is at so it is like so like you have you're gonna have another 3 buttons, right? And then you just change that to teacher, add teacher, and teacher, right? And then just have, okay. So after you have all this, you also need to change these index as well. Not index, but like the coordination as well. Okay, so I just separate it by 150. Okay, and then in terms of this command here, you don't have to do it right now, but you know, just do it. Pass. This update. Delete. Yeah, in terms of those 3 functions for teachers, I did not implement it. I will ask you guys if for the final project to fill this out. But it is basically very similar to the student part. So yeah, as long as you understand this student code, then it is pretty, you know, it is pretty easy to deal with. Okay, so what do we do next? So yeah, I mean, it is time to check what have we done. Okay, so right now it looks like this. It's just pretty much you know, the framework of our main GUI, right? And then you know, this main GUI is having this framework like this, right? So it looks looks pretty good. All right, and what you can do next is to filling out this oops, this table, right? So we have our data, and then we have our file operator to read the data. Then we will need to you know, load this data to somewhere somewhere here, right? Okay, so let's do that. Let's scroll up a bit to this constructor for here as well. So what do we have? So we will have another variable called file info. What does this file info mean? So it is basically creating a class in another class operator. And then you can see it automatically adds the path for you. I'm not sure if this adding will work, but we will see. If adding does not work, I will change it to my way. If VS Code solve it for me already, then okay, for sure. Yeah, so self student.all is equal to self.fileinfo.list student all. So it is basically saying that, you know, I define a variable student all, teacher all is equal to self.fileinfo list teacher all. Okay, so basically I take out those two lists, right, and then assign it to our variable. Okay, so what we have right now is yeah, so that is basically it for what we need to do in the constructor for this loading. And then I have those two functions. So self.load teacher student preview, self.load teacher preview. Okay. I am just gonna copy. I'm gonna hide the student and teacher GUI. I'm gonna put it here. Okay, so def self def self. Okay, so I have this to function right now. And what does this to function do? It actually adds whatever we have to this this tree view thing, and then you know, actually put our data in there. So what is how do we do that? So for index and self.tree student.getTrojan. So it is basically saying for every row in the table, self.tree student delete index. So it basically does what it does is that you know, it actually goes into the tree and then delete every existing table, delete every existing index. Okay, so I mean, it is not too efficient because once you try to load it, you know, it is basically, you know, an O(n) time, right? Because it is linear search and a linear delete. But, you know, as for now, it doesn't really matter because we don't have a large amount of data. You might need to consider it when it gets larger and larger, but you know, that is not as important as the project, you know, overall function itself. Okay, so if length of self.student all, and then show info. Show info. What is show info? Show info is just a message box that we have, and then you know, It is just basically give you a pop out a message box and show you whatever information is present. And then yeah, I have this. So this is something new. This is yeah, you can do that as well, and you can do import star as well, any way you want. But here it is just including Tinker message box import everything, right? And then this show info method can be called. Okay. Yeah, but if you have VS Code, then it actually solves it for you, so it will be easier. Okay, and then if there is information actually, then you will do for index in range length self dot student all. What is this range length thing? So remember, self dot student all is a two-dimensional array with like each list in the array is a student, right? Or the information for a student, right? And then you can do this, or you can use our student class. But since the project is already like this, we can just use this list and index. But there's also some problem with this, because you are having a hard time sort of developing your code, and that is the decision, a little bit of decision making on in terms of this. And then on second thought, I think that this file operator, I should actually have a list of student, but you don't append into a list, but instead you construct a object and then put everything you have into this object student, and then put student object, a bunch of student object in here, right? But that is, you don't know it until like the project has grown bigger and bigger and bigger, right? So it is a lot of like going back and change your code, right? But as for now, we can just do it like this. It is not too much of a work. It is a bit, but it is not too much. Okay, so self.tree student, and then we do insert. Okay, and then insert here is for nothing, is an empty string, and then index value index, which is whatever index that you want, and then you do values is equal to, what is values? Values is just a tuple for you to hold all the values that you want. Okay, and then what values do I want? So self dot student all, and then index. Index just means the student that you're currently looking at, and then yeah, that is the messy part. So you're basically needs to match whatever is in that list. So let me see, whatever is in this list. Whatever is in this list to those columns that you have, right? So it is basically name is index 0. You can do a lot of copy pasting. Do this, 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 and this. Okay. So name is the first. The student ID is the first one. The name is the second one, and then the third one. What is the third one? Yeah. Sometimes if you don't do it as this, you're gonna run into trouble like this. But you don't know it until until later, right? So there's problem with the design, but if that is not too much of a cost, then we're gonna fix the design. Otherwise, we're just gonna sort of keep it like this, and then develop a solution from there. Because sometimes you can change it, but sometimes you just can't, because if you're working in a company or whatever, and then it is written by someone else, and then if you want to change it, then it is not very good of a thing, right? As long except that your manager wants you to change it. But yeah, okay, back on the topic. We have 6. So this index 6 is for major, and in this table the major just goes on before, so like in a more important position. I have no problem with that. It's just a little bit of indexing that you need to figure out. It is not too much of a trouble though, but yeah. Okay, so after we've done this, try to run this code, and then there's a thing called no module, named final object in class. So that is the thing with this importing. Importing files are pretty hard to deal with, and maybe because I'm dumb, like, yeah, it is. I would make the comment that in Python this is very painful, um, and also it is might be the reason is that remember I download this Python file, right? But I did not put my project into that downloaded directory. And that might cause a problem, because you need to, if you do this from import, right? What will happen is Python will go into its um, own downloading file directory and look if there is any module there, right? And then because while I write my project, it is not in that directory. That is the reason why I cannot actually import it like this. It might have some problem with my computer, but I do have a solution, and this sort of solution is only for myself. If you guys have any kind of trouble like this, you can go, you can come to me in private, and I will try to fix it for you. But this is a solution that can solve in any kind of computer, right? So you don't have to do anything like that. You don't have to put it in your original file directory, and then you can still solve this question. Okay, so what will happen is we will completely delete this line. So right now your import should look like me. So there is only 3 of them. You would do is import sys, and then import os. So that is the Python file, that is the Python file directory that is dealing with systems and operating system. So what you can do is sys.path.append. So that is the commands that provided from someone else. I don't develop this, of course, but I know where to find them. It is a place called Stack Overflow. Once you have any problem, you will go out there and actually find out yourself. Okay, so what will happen is there's a command in Linux called pwd. It is basically getting the current file path. I'm not sure what is it on Windows because I don't use that a lot. Use Windows a lot, but get current directory Windows. What is it in Windows? Oh yeah, it is echo and then percentage my value, or no, wait. It is percentage CD percentage. Yeah, so for anyone who has Windows, you can do it like that. Okay, and then yeah, so that is that. You can do a little bit of searching on your own, and then you can see the problem is. Okay, so right now, what my pass is this. So it is like user rate documents. See, wait, this is my file pass. And then what I need to do is it is actually services. Services, right? And then let me check my file directory. So services, and then it is sort of telling the finder, like the, it is sort of telling the compiler to walk into that directory, and from there you do from file operator import everything. What will happen is it works. And why is student tree view is not loading? It would. Okay. Let me check what is happening here. I might did something wrong, but I'm not too sure. Oh, I accidentally. Oh, I know what is happening. Okay. Because the teacher GUI, I forgot to change this tree student into tree teacher. That is the problem. Let me change that so that's okay. Okay, so that should work now. Okay, so yeah, as for now, the student info is actually listed in this info list, right? And you can have the student name and then female, majors, computer science. You can drag this though, but like it is not displaying too well. Maybe because this string is too long, right? I mean, it can't do much for this. Maybe reduce the font, or I don't know, maybe have a shortcut for like CS, CE, SE, some sort of things like this. Okay, but yeah, that is something that you can deal with it yourself. I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna leave that as it is for now. Okay. So after we have this load student view, then we can do the same for load teacher view. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm not gonna do it. I guess you guys can implement it yourself. I think that is not too much of a trouble, right? I think so. I believe in yourself. I believe in you guys. You guys should have this this ability to do so. You guys yourself. Okay. Yeah, but like it is more or less the same. So it is basically just copy and pasting, and then just change whatever variable name is. Then it is basically how that works. And then figuring out a little bit of indexing yourself. That is not too hard as well. Okay, so that is the main GUI for now, where you share this code for. Yeah, I will definitely share the code. Whatever, I will share it. Yeah, so I will share the code, but I will only share, well, since I have more code here than here. So yeah, after I am done, I will definitely yeah, at like the university level, more or less, it is. I don't know. I feel like I'm a computer engineering student. So far, university does not teach me any of those, so I have to learn it myself. I mean, you can call it university level, or even you it can be treated as industry level, basically like you're making a GUI, something like this. In industry, it will just be more complicated than this, but you know, it is sort of it. I must agree. Um, for you guys as a starter, like you just played with Python for like a month, it could be pretty hard to deal with those object-oriented stuff, mixing all of those together. But I mean, it is a good practice, right? Um, all the basic are these basic knowledge for university. Um, I would say that. So in terms of this project, it is not required for you to get into university and know this. But if you're coming to Waterloo, so to speak, it is very helpful for you to get a um, co-op co-op position, because you will need to write your resume yourself, and then only the coursework will not give you a good job. Or like, let's say it is very hard for you to find a job only to write whatever you did on a course. I mean, like on Ontario, um, I don't know, like on a public school maybe. Yeah, I'm from a public school in Ontario High School, and I feel like only writing that to your resume is not enough for like getting yourself a job or getting yourself a co-op. So yeah, you might need to do something extra, and that something extra is whatever this I'm talking about here. Okay, so this can be considered as something extra, right? You developed a student information system, sort of based on your experience and based on whatever you taught yourself to demonstrate, what you know, right? Yeah, so that is a little bit of extra thing. Um, I don't know. Maybe. Um, Let me see how much code does base detail have. I mean, once again, okay, that's not too much code. That's not too much code. Okay, so I will have another. But yeah, I will definitely share this file directory. So like back on topic, I will definitely share this file directory, but I will leave some of those code blank. In fact, let's see. Yeah, I'm considering uploading to a GitHub, but I don't know if you guys all know how to use GitHub. Do you guys know all, do you guys all know how to use GitHub? I'm just, yeah, not really. Okay, yeah, yeah. I mean, well, yeah, GitHub is something that you will definitely need to know. Um, Let me think how. Yeah, because you know what? Because the story with GitHub is in when I was in high school, I tried to learn it myself and I gave up. It looks pretty complicated, um, but yeah, I mean, read about basic ideas, maybe some YouTube videos. Okay, that is something you will need to know. It is the idea is the version control, and it is basically saying that you know you have a version on your local copy, and then you have a version online, like on the cloud, in GitHub, and then you're basically try to it is sort of like a Google Doc. Think of it as a Google Doc or Google Drive. Um, in terms of that, the purpose of GitHub is just to share the code. Okay, so it is just to share the code, but there are more advanced, yeah, for your game script, definitely. Yeah, I mean, sometimes if you're only doing it yourself, then it is just sort of like a Google Drive, right? A Google Drive for code. But I mean, speaking of Google Drive, I can totally upload my code to Google Drive and provide you a link. Yeah, I mean, I could do that, um, for sure. Yeah. So I mean, I can do that. I'll figure out a way um, later, myself, and then I will try to make it whatever is easiest for you guys. And if you guys want me to run a tutorial on GitHub, then I'm totally fine to do that as well. But yeah, let me actually finish this. So we sort of having a basic idea of this main GUI, right? And then what we'll need to do is we will have another GUI thing. So let me quit this, run this again. So what you need to do is when you're sort of let's say here, clicking add a student, right? It will pop up a window, and saying like with those information that you wanna put in, right? So what we need to do next is that. So this is called base detail. Py. Okay. So base detail.py. What does base detail.py do? It is another pop-up window, and then it can, let me move this here. Yeah, this base detail Py is just a framework that is used commonly for students and teacher. Um, it is sort of, yeah, I mean, that it is this it is a superclass, which means that there will be two objects that is implementing that class. One is called student detail and one is called teacher detail, right? So that is something to know before before coding, right? So from PIL import image TK. So that is something that we have a little bit of image to deal with. So you can deal with like that from PIL import image image TK. Okay. And I will just make a note here. For those packages, sometimes you need to install it yourself. Okay. And then one idea is called PIP install, PIL. And then you can have this. Yeah, Pillow or PIL. This is just for a Python program to deal with the images. Okay, so the most easiest way is a tool called PIP. I think you will have this. Yeah, PyPI. So this is just a command that you will type. Okay, so it is basically like copy to clipboard. And then in terms of my case, if you have Python 2 and Python 3, you will need to add PIP 3. But if you only have one version of Python, then you should be fine to just type PIP, right? And then PIP 3 install Pillow, right? And then if you do have Pillow, then it will just say require satisfied. But if you do not, then you will need to fix this. You need to fix this. But yeah, if you do not, then sorry about that. If you do not, then it will just install it for you. Okay, so you don't have to fix this. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, detail. Okay, so we have a class called base detail. Top level. That is something to you know, that is something to just to be a subclass. So I believe top level is another class here. So yeah, you don't have to worry about it for now, as long as you know how to use it. And then if you're curious, go search it up. Google is always your best friend. Okay, so yeah, once again, super.init. I'm just gonna speed this up a little bit since we are close to the end. So self.geometry is the same. You have, this time the window is smaller, 600 x 600 plus 60 plus 60. I can do that. Oops. And makes it not resizable. 0, 0. And then you can do self BG, which is background color, is equal to light gray. Yeah, just a little coloring or formatting does not actually matter too much, but sometimes it is important to make your project looks nice. But yeah, in terms of learning, that is not important. In terms of finding a job or making yourself a good resume, then it is important. But our purpose here is learning instead of a resume polishing class. So yeah, so once again, same thing, right? So You have Roboto. This is a tuple though. Roboto have 26. It's pretty large, but you know, that is okay. Bode, and then foreground. I actually forgot the E here. Foreground is equal to a light blue. Background is equal to blue. Okay, so okay, we can deal with that later. But self the login image. So we're basically doing an image. So this is image tk.photo image. So it is basically saying that, you know, I am importing an image with a image file. And then this image tk photo image is definitely a class. And then image package open. And then here is the file path, image.jpg. Yeah, I download this image. I will just provide it for you. You can just use it directly. Okay. All right. So what do we need to do? Self.label image is equal to label self, and then image is equal to self dot login image, and then it is basically having a label on the login image, and then self dot label image dot place x 0 y 0. So it's basically you know, putting on the top left of the thing, right? And then add a pane. So like it is basically add a panel, right? So self dot panel detail is equal to paned window self, then width is equal to 588, height is equal to 420, and then you are basically placing it into pane detail. Yeah, you're basically placing it into this window that you created. X equals 6, y equals 120. And then so you're basically creating a panel, and then self.button save. So you will need to have a save button. So that is button self text equals to save. So it basically means that, you know, you're basically trying to save the text. Width is equal to 5. Command is equal to self dot save. Self dot commit. Okay, so we are gonna deal with it later. So again, right now what we're trying to do today is to set up the GUI. So button save dot place, and then it's just finding a place to put it, right? So 400, y is equal to 555. You can change those coordinates once again, but you know, I just decided myself that this is the place that I want to put it, right? Text equals to close. This is basically the same thing, right? So you can copy and paste. Text close. And then you can pass in the method self.close GUI. Right, and then the coordinates can be 500. Right, and then we're defining close GUI self, and then close GUI just means self.destroy. Destroy is a built-in method for this class, right? So it has, so commit. For now, we'll just pass, and then for the entire thing we could be pass, because we will implement it in the child class. So the super class does not actually needs to do anything. Okay, we will finish more detail on the child class. So, oh yeah, I can configure the button style. So it is basically very similar. You do self style 01, configure T button. T button just means button, right? And then you do Roboto and then 14. Okay. Then, if you want to test your code, if name is equal to main. So detail is equal to base detail dot main loop. Okay. Oh, oops. So like double equal. Okay. So what do we need to do is Python 3 base detail. Okay. No such file or image directory as image.jpg, because I forgot to copy this image here. All right, so I will copy this and then paste this to GUI. And then I run this again. Base detail has object has no object commit. I do have it. Is it a typo or something? That's interesting. Okay, what we can do is, for now, we can delete this, because I think that's, it actually needs to be implemented, I guess. But yeah, so far we can delete this so that, we don't have to deal with this error, because we are going to we're gonna develop the commit method anyway. Let me do this again. Close UI. Why is it not? That is weird. Okay, so what we can do is we just delete all those, and then we'll just leave it as it. Yeah, so that is the baseline. And then as you can see, so this image is just placed here, and then this is a sub panel that we are going to fill information, and then this save button and close button are not yet implemented for anything, but that is the GUI that we have. Yeah, so this command thing, I can take a look at it later, because it is exactly the same code, but it doesn't work. Yeah, but I'm probably thinking that you know, it is something else. But yeah, here is this, and then yeah, so that is the thing, because this is a base detail, and then we are going to implement student detail where you know, because this base detail means that both student and teacher will both have the same thing, right? And then in terms of student and teacher, we will implement those ourselves, right? So that is the thing that we're going to talk about. Okay, so that is today all for today's lecture. What we did is we did a little bit of review, and we did a little bit. We did all the GUI that we need to do, and you know, that is a lot of code. Takes quite a bit to sink in, and then I will try to share my code. Or the status of the project so far, so that you guys can keep up. Yeah, so that is something that I want to say. So that is everything for today. Is there any kind of questions or concerns or anything? I will wait until 12:05 and then we will end today's lecture. Okay, I guess that's all for everything. Yeah, thanks a lot, and I will see you tomorrow. Yep, thanks. Thanks, bye.